Hey gamers! Welcome back to NickPlays, your go-to channel for everything PS5. Today, we're diving into the fast-paced world of racing games. Buckle up as we count down the top 14 best PS5 racing games of 2024. From heart-pounding circuits to wild off-road tracks, we've got it all. Let's hit the gas and get started. Kicking off our list at number 14 is MotoGP 23. The MotoGP series has had its fair share of ups and downs over the years. In truth, MotoGP 23 is far from the franchise's best installment when everything is taken into account, though it is one of the best racing games on the PlayStation 5 thanks in large to its excellent career mode and stunning visuals. In these areas, the game offers one of the most realistic MotoGP experiences to date, with players having to worry about things like social media and their relationships with other riders. The weather effects are simply gorgeous too, and more than make up for the adverse racing conditions that they usually bring along with them. At number 13, we have Destruction Allstars. The game features full racing wheel support, enhancing the immersive racing experience. Destruction Allstars has nowhere near enough content to justify being a full-price release. Thankfully, it was given away for free through PlayStation Plus for the first 2 months following its release, and was made available for just $20 after that. At this price, it becomes a fairly interesting proposition, even more so if players are able to get it cheaper in a sale. In spite of the aforementioned lack of content, the experience on offer in Destruction Allstars can be a lot of fun. The driving mechanics are pretty easy to pick up and the crashes can be brutal, which should appeal to younger players. Those seeking depth and rewarding progression will almost certainly come away disappointed, but anyone looking for some mindless fun can definitely find that here. Coming in at number 12 is Redout 2. For whatever reason, Nintendo seems to be reluctant to revive the F-Zero series, and Sony hasn't done much with Wipeout over the past decade or so either. As such, there is a gaping hole in the market for futuristic high-octane racers, and it's one that the Redout games are doing their darndest to try and fill. Sadly, neither Redout 2 nor its predecessor are anywhere near the same level as those aforementioned series were back in their respective heydays, but that's not to say that they're not still enjoyable. The visuals are solid enough, as too are the driving mechanics, helping to earn them the title of next best thing. At number 11, we have Monster Energy Supercross, the official Videogame 6. It may not be the franchise's most groundbreaking installment and its name may be a bit of a mouthful, but Monster Energy Supercross, the official Videogame 6, remains one of the best PS5 racing games around. Much like in previous iterations, the controls may take a little bit of getting used to, but they're incredibly responsive and allow players to really show off their mastery of the sport when it comes to taking tight corners and passing other racers. The overall experience on offer feels a lot more balanced than some of those which came before it, and the AI and collision mechanics are also much improved. For more casual players, whether or not all of this is worth the cost of admission or the cost of upgrading from an earlier Monster Energy Supercross title is debatable, but it's definitely a must-play for fans of the sport. Sliding into number 10 is LEGO 2K Drive. When it comes to the best PS5 racing games, there tend to be two different types. The first strives for realism, providing players with a lifelike simulation and bleeding-edge visuals. The other favors fun above all else, often placing a heavy emphasis on creative tracks and easy-to-master mechanics so as to appeal to a much broader audience. LEGO 2K Drive falls firmly into the second bracket. This is far from a bad thing, though, as there's a fairly sizable demand for this kind of racing game these days. LEGO fans will be in their element, but so too will those who are new to the genre or anyone who struggles with games like Gran Turismo 7 and Assetto Corsa Competizione. Couch co-op support makes it all the more accessible and a great game for parents who are looking for something to play with their kids. At number 9, we have Grid Legends. The Grid series is a relatively new one when compared to some of its peers, but it's quickly established itself as one of the genre's heaviest hitters. Each new title has continued to build upon the excellent foundations laid by Race Driver Grid, with Grid Legends being the latest game to do so. Released in early 2022, the game boasts more than 130 tracks, including a number of real-world circuits. There are over 100 vehicles too, ranging from top-of-the-line drift cars to more rugged off-road vehicles. There's also a story-focused career mode, which should appeal to those looking to sink some serious time into their driving. Zooming in at number 8 is Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, Turbocharged. There have been plenty of great games based on toy cars over the years, from Codemasters' classic Micro Machines games to the studio's 2014 title, Toy Box Turbos. Whether or not Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, Turbocharged lives up to any of the aforementioned classics is perhaps a matter for debate, but most will likely be in agreement that it's an awful lot of fun and a big step up from its 2021 predecessor. Developed and published by Milestone, the game supports up to 12 players and boasts 130 distinct vehicles at launch. If it's anything like its predecessor, many more will probably be added via DLC updates, providing players with miniature versions of some of the most popular cars of all time. There are numerous game modes available too, and even a track editor, allowing players to create unique and challenging courses for themselves and their friends. Crashing into number 7 is Wreckfest. Those who enjoyed classic games like Destruction Derby, Carmageddon, and Burnout owe it to themselves to give Wreckfest a try. Developer Bugbear Entertainment went to ridiculous lengths to provide players with a healthy dose of vehicular chaos and carnage. In the modern age, there's nothing else quite like it, and the PS5 version is arguably the definitive way to experience it. It's one of those games that drove under the radar when it first came out, then grew steadily in popularity as word of mouth began to spread. Wreckfest probably isn't a game for racing purists or those looking to perfectly navigate a predefined route, but anyone who is on the lookout for a fun and exciting racing game could definitely do a lot worse than this. At number 6, we have F1 24. The team over at Codemasters has had a hand in many of the best racing games of all time. In truth, F1 24 is by far the studio's finest work, but for fans of Formula One racing, it is still something of a must-play game, offering up numerous improvements over its predecessor and, ultimately, one of the most complete F1 video games to date. EA Sports' dynamic handling completely transforms the driving experience, resulting in a much more realistic title overall. The game looks beautiful too, and the engine has been perfectly tuned. Content-wise, there's more than enough to keep players busy for hours on end, and thus justify the cost of upgrading from the previous year's edition. Revving into number 5 is Need for Speed Unbound. There have been some truly incredible Need for Speed games over the years, but there have also been one or two duds. Though it falls some way short of the series' greatest installments, Need for Speed Unbound is far from a failure and has more than enough going on under the hood to please both new players and series veterans alike. As one might expect from a next-gen racing game, Need for Speed Unbound is one of the most aesthetically pleasing NFS games to date, not just due to the power of the PS5, but also because of the street art-inspired flourishes, which define the game's art direction. The story mode is a little bland, but races are a lot of fun and the online functionality is up there with the very best. Racing into number 4 is The Crew Motorfest. The Crew may not quite live up to the lofty standards set by other popular racing game franchises like Forza and Gran Turismo. However, its use of persistent open-world environments and fantastic online multiplayer support makes it a wonderful series for both solo players and those looking to play online with friends. The Crew Motorfest takes place on a scaled-down version of the Hawaiian island of Oahu and thus boasts plenty of stunning environments for players to explore. In terms of gameplay, it doesn't stray too far from the series' tried and tested formula, though it is a lot more polished and has a lot more to see and do. Sliding into the top 3, we have Dirt 5. The Dirt series has come a long way since its Colin McRae rally days, with very few major bumps in the road. As far as rally games go, not many franchises are able to match it, and Dirt 5 is very much a case of more of the same. Granted, some may prefer WRC10, but for those who favor fun over realism, the incredible arcade-style racing on offer in Dirt 5 is difficult to ignore. One of the areas where the game really excels is through its use of haptic feedback and the DualSense adaptive triggers. The sound mixing is on point too, helping players to feel as though they really are sat in the driver's seat. Like all of the best PS5 racing sims, it's best enjoyed with a wheel and pedals rather than a controller, but players will still find plenty of fun with the latter. At number 2, we have Assetto Corsa Competizione. For the longest time, those looking to play a hyper-realistic racing sim on PlayStation consoles were limited to the likes of Gran Turismo and Dirt. Then came Assetto Corsa Competizione, which boasts one of the best physics engines in the history of the genre, as well as a huge selection of officially licensed circuits, drivers, and cars. There's very little not to like about what's on offer here, other, perhaps, than the game being a little too realistic in certain places. Those looking for a racing game that allows them to fly around corners at breakneck speeds without having to take their foot off the gas pedal will probably want to look elsewhere, but for purists, this is easily one of the best racing games on the PS5. And finally, taking the top spot at number 1 is Gran Turismo 7. Many see the Gran Turismo series as being the pinnacle of simulated racing, at least when it comes to realism, anyway. Gran Turismo 7 does nothing but strengthen such opinions, offering up one of the very best racing experiences on the PlayStation 5 bar none. It serves as a huge step up from Gran Turismo Sport and a poignant reminder of just how special this series really is. Although the game got off to a bit of a bumpy start due to its aggressive monetization and always online requirements, things have improved quite a lot since launch, with a steady stream of new content making its way to players with each new title update. There's a huge selection of real-world cars and circuits on offer, not to mention virtual reality support for those who own a PSVR 2 headset. And there you have it, the top 14 best PS5 racing games of 2024. From high-speed circuits to chaotic demolition derbies, these games offer something for every racing fan. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching NickPlays, and see you on the racetrack.